Alrighty, so we are finally back on some Black Ops 7 Zombies, and there has been a ton of stuff coming out, not only last week, but tomorrow as well with Zombies. If you guys don't know, last week was considered Zombies Week, and we got a bunch of teasers actually about Black Ops 7 Zombies, including the new intro cutscene for the first map. Now, I'm not going to sit here and do a full analytic on that. They did drop a blog post as well, and tomorrow on the 24th, we're actually going to be getting another blog post probably for the official reveal trailer of Zombies. So I'm going to have a separate video covering that, but this video is one that I just wanted to put out kind of for my own sake and to kind of explain myself a little bit. As the title suggests, I'm going to be explaining why I'm actually excited for the Dark Aether storyline. I don't think there's any reason people actually need to explain why they're into the Dark Aether storyline. I do believe that there's actually some pretty good writing in there, and like I said, at the start of Cold War all the way back in the day, I did enjoy the writing so far. I didn't think Cold War was that bad of a game. There's parts of the writing that I wanted to be better, but all in all, I don't think you need a rationale as to why you are excited for the Black Ops 7 Zombies storyline. However, I think I need to explain myself because I was very critical of the Dark Aether storyline, not so much because of Cold War or Black Ops 6, but specifically because of a decision that they chose in Modern Warfare Zombies. Now, if you don't know, little spark notes for Modern Warfare Zombies is Modern Warfare Zombies is related to the rest of the Dark Aether storyline, and it's kind of the future of the Dark Aether storyline, which for me was always a buzzkill because no matter what happens between Cold War all the way up through Black Ops 6 through Black Ops 7, the future of the zombie storyline was always going to be Modern Warfare Zombies, and that for me is something that I critiqued for so long. Originally, this video was going to be kind of a theory video on where I think the storyline is going to go and possible avenues that they could, you know, try to go down and experiment with because of the Reckoning Easter egg, and we'll still talk about those for sure. But I quickly realized that I was doing a whole chalkboard video and explaining all these theories, and I just wasn't as connected to the storyline as I thought I should be to go ahead and theorize those things. So I've yapped about it with some of my friends, and they were like, dude, post it anyway, but I wasn't confident in putting my my stamp of approval on some of my theories for a storyline that I wasn't too heavily invested in until now. The reason I'm making this video is to officially say, like, I'm excited for the Dark Aether storyline, and it isn't because of Modern Warfare Zombies at all. It's actually because there's a potential deviation away from Modern Warfare Zombies. As we know, at the end of the Reckoning cutscene, there's actually two Easter egg endings that are possible. One that favors Richtofen, where Richtofen gets his family back, and one that favors Samantha, where the Samantha bot officially becomes sentient, and they wound up getting a body for her, and she is alive in the real world, even though she was technically dead back in Cold War by sacrificing herself to the Forsaken. But either way, no matter which ending you choose, it shows our crew going into the Dark Aether. Now, at first glance, for me, that was just like, oh, okay, we're gonna go to the Dark Aether, but no matter what happens in there, it doesn't matter because Modern Warfare Zombies is still just going to be the canon future. But then I started doing some research. Now, I never completed the Reckoning Easter egg, nor did I really look up too much gameplay of what actually happens, but through my research, I found that Richtofen is dead at the end of the Reckoning Easter egg when you choose the Samantha side. Now, to some people that might be like, okay, Dan, why does that matter? You know, why does Richtofen dying here and not being reunited with his family affect the future of Modern Warfare Zombies being canon? And it's because Richtofen is alive in Modern Warfare Zombies. He is the director. So if he was to be dead in a storyline, it means that the entire reality has flipped and we're no longer going down that path. And I believe that this is a theory that is 100% possible. Originally, I was kind of on the fence about it because I was like, well, no matter what happens, whether, you know, Richtofen dies or Samantha's alive, the Modern Warfare Zombies Easter egg is still going to unravel into Modern Warfare Zombies. But, like I said, because Richtofen's alive, I think that that is enough to suggest that perhaps the original canon storyline was going to be the Richtofen ending, where he gets his family back and we get introduced to Ava down, you know, in Modern Warfare Zombies. But if there's a chance that Modern Warfare Zombies is written off entirely because Samantha wound up winning at the end of the Reckoning Easter egg, I think that that sets us up pretty well for an unexpected Zombies story. That was always my main critique about Modern Warfare Zombies' decision to be canon with the rest of the series, is no matter what happened, everything kind of felt like it didn't have weight. Like, discovering some of the mysteries that happened in the in-betweens was nice, but I never wanted the in-betweens. I wanted the climactic fights, the giant weighted decisions, and how will our characters, you know, find a way to stop this, what seems like an impossible evil to fight. And I think that because the Reckoning Easter egg potentially leaves us with a new storyline to go down, we might have some of that weight back in the storyline. Now, of course, we'll have to go through Black Ops 7 and see, but I do think that there is a potential that we don't get Modern Warfare Zombies at all. And this is something I wanted to talk about in my theory video as well, is what happens if we don't get Modern Warfare Zombies, or what happens if a deviation from the original storyline is, you know, the future and what they have in store for Black Ops 7. And I think that idea can really be boiled down into two theories. And again, this is what I kind of made my theory video on, but I just didn't feel equipped enough to kind of state what I thought as if it was really going to matter. Like, I'm sitting here scruffy as hell, having shaved my face, looking crusty. Like, well, what do I know about zombies? You know, who am I? Who do you think you are? No, I am. That's what I would have gotten hit with in the zombies community. But with that being said, I do have two theories that I do think would be cool avenues for them to explore, and I'm kind of using, you know, reasoning here based on what we know so far 100% to kind of solidify these ideas. So theory number one, like we've been talking about, is if we go down a different storyline than the original, right? The original timeline was we go from Cold War to Black Ops 6 to Black Ops 7. Anything happens in the Dark Ether, we pop back out, and then Modern Warfare Zombies is the future, where we see Weaver dead at the start, and then zombie, you know, outbreak comes out again in a result of a bioweapon used by terrorists, you know, like that whole thing. I don't like that, but that was the original storyline. But with the Reckoning Easter egg ending potentially throwing a wrench in that, we might deviate from that now, where the events of Cold War up until Black Ops 6, all the way up until Reckoning are canon, but now, depending on which Easter egg ending they choose to be canon at the end of Reckoning, we could essentially branch off and never get to Modern Warfare Zombies. We may never get to a point where the zombies get to 2023, or, you know, we might not even see what 2023 looks like in that universe, because maybe something cataclysmic happens in the Dark Ether and opens up a multiverse. That's something I'm going to touch on in a little bit here, because the idea of a multiverse and a specific character trying to ignite it again is pretty important for both of these theories. But that's the first theory right now, is that the ending of the Reckoning Easter egg essentially dictates which storyline we're going down, and I think it's been switched now with the existence of a Samantha Easter egg ending where Richtofen is no longer alive to later become the director in Modern Warfare Zombies. The other Easter egg ending is one that I think is a little bit more complex, which might be Treyarch speed, but it's also a little bit harder to explain. So this theory basically relies on the idea that the Dark Ether, which as we know already has a weird relation with time, where like 100 years in the Dark Ether is only like 30 in the real world or something like that. I forget the exact calculations, but we already know that the Dark Ether has a weird relation with time. With that being said, I always thought of the Dark Ether, and again, I don't have too much evidence to back this, but I think it's something that they could probably pull for, that the Dark Ether essentially exists in this realm, or this like shadow pocket dimension outside of the event of what's happening. So essentially, if there was a timeline that was streamlined from Cold War, Black Ops 6 to Modern Warfare Zombies, the Black Ops 7 universe, or the Black Ops 7 Dark Ether storyline or events, whatever happens in that game, would essentially exist off of that timeline. So the timeline's completely linear and goes straight, and then there's this weird pocket kind of floating around and in and out of the storyline, which is Black Ops 7 or the Dark Ether. Now, the reason this theory I think has some weight is because of that multiverse reignition that we were talking about, which is through the use of the Shadowsmith. We've had some leaks suggesting that Black Ops 6 was going to have a villain known as the Shadowsmith, or another big baddie that was essentially trying to reignite the multiverse through utilizing essence or souls. And as we saw in that intro cutscene for Black Ops 7, there was a shadowy figure that we presume to be the Shadowsmith, or one of the Shadowsmiths. We don't have an exact confirmation on that yet. There's also ideas of him going around being Jebediah Brown, which again, I'm not going to talk about that in this video. There's plenty of more analytical videos that go over stuff like that with some evidence and some rationale. I've watched most of them, but it's not like my piece to share. You know, I think that this video should be structured around why I'm excited about zombies again, but don't get me wrong, the surprise of trying to figure out who that character is and if it actually is Jebediah Brown or a brand new character is pretty intriguing to me as well. That's also one of the reasons I've kind of been hopping back on the zombies lore train here. But either way, with that character being introduced in the Black Ops 7 cutscene, it opens the idea, and it opens up, I guess, you know, the speculation on Treyarch's behalf as to whether those leaks are real, and if they are, how much of the leak is real, and how much are they going to actually utilize. So we see that character kind of takes some souls or takes some essence from not only the 4 new characters that we got introduced, the new versions of Nikolai, Dempsey, Takeo, and Richtofen, but also taking some essence or some soul from our characters that came from Black Ops 6. That's lining up pretty well with the leak that there is a big baddie that is trying to essentially reignite the multiverse through capturing those souls. And it is important that it's those souls specifically because they also come from different universes. Granted, I think that Takeo, Richtofen, and Nikolai, and Dempsey are different universes within the Dark Ether. Like, I don't think that there's another universe that's existing along the same time as our current timeline. So I don't know if that has much to do with it in that sense, but they are technically souls that are from different timelines and not just a part of the same one. So that could be, you know, some rationale as to why he's grabbing those souls. Maybe it's because they're linked through a multiversal connection and he needs them to activate the multiverse through that. Another important thing to note is that if this is true and the Dark Ether exists in its own pocket universe and isn't really a part of the timeline and can exist both in the past, future, and present, that also leads to speculation as to whether or not we're going to see Ava in Black Ops 7. We obviously know that Ava at the end of the Modern Warfare Zombies story gets pulled into a mirror by the Shadowsmith or by this cowboy guy, as we've seen through his shadowy figure with the hat and in Black Ops 7's intro cutscene. So what this could potentially mean is that because the Dark Ether is kind of this void where time and space has different rules and is altered, maybe the Shadowsmith can actually in fact go in past and in the future and in the present and interact with those through portals himself, potentially pulling Ava from the future into the Dark Ether, so pulling her out of her timeline into the Dark Ether, just like the Black Ops 6 cast got pulled out of their timeline, the same respective timeline, and pulled into the Dark Ether. This is kind of a Hail Mary theory and a little bit more complicated than I think they would go for, but it's not the first time we've seen something crazy like this from Treyarch. So I do think that there's a little bit of merit to that. Now, I don't know where that would go, but it would be extremely hype for me to see, because that would 100% kind of say like, hey, we're not going down that same Modern Warfare Zombie storyline anymore. Like, we're going into something new here, and everything that you're going to see from now into the future on how we wrap up this story will be something new. And I think that that's a really good thing, because Modern Warfare Zombies essentially got me to not really care about Weaver, because I know his fate at the start of Modern Warfare Zombies. So it's like, it's cool to see what he's going through in all of this from Black Ops 6 all the way up till Black Ops 7. However, if none of that mattered, I kind of felt like I was wasting my time and that the writing was kind of just like, you know, like it didn't really matter too much. But because there are 2 potential theories that I've kind of been thinking about, and the real legitimate idea that the Modern Warfare Zombie storyline is now no longer the future and it's been tweaked because of this whole Dark Ether thing going on at the end of the Reckoning Easter egg and throughout Black Ops 7, it's really ignited my passion for zombies again, and for the writing, and for the story, because I always wanted this giant, grand, orchestral, you know, feeling of dread and unsurance, and this, you know, mystery solving throughout the entire zombie storyline, and I was losing that a little bit once we knew what happened in Modern Warfare Zombies, because it gave us the answer to the questions, or at least, you know, the outcome after everything that we go through. So I'm super excited for the storyline now, and I don't think that anyone should have to explain why they were passionate, but for someone like me who dogged on the storyline for so long, I felt like I had to give a little bit of an example as to why I'm excited for the storyline, and also what I think the potential storyline could develop as now. Everything now is up in the air, especially because they had 2 Easter egg endings, and I think they did that on purpose to really say like, hey, we're throwing caution to the wind right now. We could do anything right now with this whole Black Ops 7 and Dark Ether storyline and characters and all this. So I'm super excited because I don't know what to expect, and I think that that is phenomenal. So hopefully this wasn't too much rambling, and I hope that, you know, some people might have gotten intrigued off of hearing some of this just like I did. I know the idea of zombies potentially having new storylines or different timelines or a wrench being thrown into the original plans is something that I always found fascinating. So I hope other people can share the same merit and be excited for this storyline developing as well, because I really do feel like it has a chance to have some phenomenal writing, just like the original Call of Duty Zombie storyline. Obviously, we'll have to wait till Black Ops 7 to really see what they decide to do, but if it's all taking place in the Dark Ether, I'm already excited. And because they chose to do 2 different Easter egg endings, one where, you know, pretty much confirms Modern Warfare Zombies and one where it hints at potentially being something else, I think Treyarch knows exactly what they're doing, and I'm thinking that we could potentially see something really cool here in Black Ops 7 Zombies. So I just wanted to get this video out and kind of explain like some of my theories right now and give a little bit of rationale as to why I'm hopping back on the Zombies train here and why I'm super excited for the mode again. I never fell out of love with the gameplay of the new Zombies, even though it is different than what we're used to. The gameplay was always still pretty fun for me, but it was so hard for me to get invested in the game because I also love the story so much. And when the story was kind of floundering a little bit, in my opinion, because of the Modern Warfare Zombie choices, I kind of lost my love for the series. But this has roped me right back in. I don't know how Treyarch did it, but they got me, man. They got me on the Zombies train again, and I could not be more excited. Now, I'll talk about this a little bit in the blog post tomorrow because I'm sure they're going to talk about it in the trailer, but it looks like the leaks are very, very true that we might potentially have a classic mode returning to Zombies. I didn't want to mention it too much in this video because that's not what this is about, but it seems very, very likely that we are going to have a classic mode come back to Zombies, which, dude, I'm over the moon about. Again, I'll talk about it a little bit more in tomorrow's video on the 24th when they actually drop the reveal and hopefully a blog post detailing that stuff. But dude, I am so excited for Zombies. It honestly like almost brings me to tears that I can finally be invested in this game mode that I was so heavily invested in for such a long time and then fell out of love for, and now I'm able to just hop right back into it and not feel forced. Like, this feels like an authentic excitement for me, and I'm super happy for it. I couldn't be more grateful right now. With that being said, I'm going to sit here and try to exfil with literally nothing to my name. I wasn't even planning on like really exfilling or playing this map in a traditional manner. I was kind of just hopping on some zombies to yap, so I might get absolutely, yep, and there we go, we're getting absolutely smacked. All right, with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for all the support, and yeah, peace.